Hi guys, and welcome back to episode 10 of Men's Glory Podcast, where we keep it real biblical. First and foremost, I'm having one of those science days, so y'all gonna have to ignore me. Eyes red, and I keep sneezing. But today's topic is navigating your career choices. Understanding God's plan and purpose for you. So, I made the statement I don't know if it was last week or week before last when I said some women feel like they don't understand their purpose until they're married or until they have children. And I don't understand that statement. So yeah. But I say all the time that I feel that God put me here to be a servant. And what was fun is that a few Sundays back, we had he's a friend of my dad's, but he's also a pastor. Him and his wife came to visit us, and so he talked about how God was a servant first. Jesus was a servant first. And that's what he came to do. Came to be a sacrifice, but he also served people, right? And for as who I am, as mean as I am, as mean as I say I am, because people tell me I'm not mean. As mean as I say I am, I will not give you the shirt off my back. But I will do everything I can for you to ensure that you have a better life. She laughing because I'm not going to get you shit off my back. Because my first question is, what did you do to get yourself in that situation?
Well, when we say people will give you the shirt off of their back, some people are just that nice and kind. That's what it means.
Oh,
I met a person, her name is Sister Davis, and if you asked her for something, she would literally give it to you. You know, pour out a person and give you a person. And you have some people like that. But Pastor Carter said, because we, I can hear myself, and I used to say the statement all the time. The word said, love thy neighbor as thyself. Not more than and not better than. And he said something that made me think a step further. He said, would you leave yourself out in the cold or in the weather? So what came into my heart, because I make this statement all the time, that the words say, love thy neighbor as thyself, not better than. In other words, I'm not going to do more for you that I can do for myself. But my job is that I can do for you, that God allows me to do, if it's his will for me to do. Because like I had to tell someone that I had been conversing with, and he said to me, I remember my mother told me that sometimes helping people could get yourself in trouble. And I say that's true, because if God is chastising or punishing someone, and you choose to help or pour into them, then you come to lose too. Because at the end of the day, when God is doing something to us, there's nothing or no one that can do anything about it but harm themselves. Now, we don't know when that is.
Not your business too.
Right. But I have noticed in the past, people we chose to help because they came to us. And I don't care how much you poured in, it was still going out. And it took me years later with my teaching to see, God was punishing them. It wasn't for them to have this or that. So we just have to be careful. And there's signs there. For instance, we're going to say one of my children are 4. And if you call me and ask me for something, and you're not being honest, when you tell me lies, I don't trust you, and I would not do it. And I have a family member that say, well, if I ask you for something, it ain't your business what I'm doing.
The devil is a lie. It's my money.
It's like this. If it's X amount of dollars,
anything over 20.
Because you could be using my money to put a hit on somebody.
To suffice a habit.
Or whatever it is, and I'm not going to be guilty of that. But I'm like this, if I need something from you, I'm going to tell you why I need it. you know. And that might have been getting off the top, but I touched on what she said about that. She wouldn't give a person the shirt off her back, because we do.
Then I'd be shirtless.
Yeah, we do say that about some people. They'll give you the shirt off their back. It's a metaphor.
That's loving somebody more than you love
yourself. It's a metaphor. Yeah.
That's how I take it. I just find it so funny, and I've said this before, but the way that life plays out prior to us filming an episode, the things that conspire, the things that go on that lead up to this, right? So today in church, we talked about, we went to Psalms where it talked about how for those who say they believe in God, in real life you don't have time for God, right? You only have time for God when you are in need of something you want God to provide you with. And we talked about how God said, well, you don't know me, or you didn't know me then, so I won't know you now, right? And I yelled out the version of mock at your calamity, which happened to be another one that we went into. And I just thought it was very funny how we think we are so smart, and that, to me, I get the understanding that, one, we think we're smarter than God, and two, that we think God is stupid. Because for us to try to, what's the word I want to use?
Fool,
for us
trick,
to try
manipulate.
to manipulate your way. So, well, God, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. As if you have any power whatsoever.
We don't.
As if God needs anything from you.
And he doesn't.
That's the biggest mistake ever, right? Or you live your life the way you want to live your life all of your life. And then when you become bedridden, sick on your sick bed, whatever the case is, okay, God, I'm ready to, you ain't got nothing left to give God now. So why is it now are we so gung-ho of going to God now? You want to think about God when you was doing what you was doing. So why we're here now, right? So with that, like I said, I truly believe that I was put here to serve. However, that does not mean that I'm a fool. That does not mean that I'm going to hurt me to help you. So the statement that said, I'll give you a shirt off my back. The verse says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Me loving you, if you need clothes, and I can afford to buy you clothes or to take you to a shelter, whatever case is, to get you clothes, I would do that. However, that's me loving you as myself, because I buy myself some clothes.
I got a question.
Now, if you say you need this, and I know I need it, and I give you off my back, that's me loving you more than me.
Okay, you have said about all these clothes you have in your closet.
You finna test the limits.
So, if a person come up and visit or whatever, just like I go on the interview, blah, blah, blah. So, because we have the clothing closet at the church, but you looking at, I got something perfect in my closet that'll fit you. Would you do that?
In my clothes closet?
In your closet is in your house.
Me being who I am and having the taste that I have and dressing the way that I dress, I would never look at anyone and say, I got something perfect in my closet that's going to fit you. Now,
that would look nice on them then.
Heck no.
Girl, you don't know what
if I see something online, like, girl, you look good in it, I would never picture something in my wardrobe and say, girl, that would look so good. Now, if you came in with something that I had, I'd be like, oh, I got that same shoe, that same handbag, that same. It would never register in my mind, oh, you know what, you look good in my outfit. No, I have one too many people already trying to steal things out of my. I got a little cousin right now stole a brand new cardigan I've never worn. She's had it for a year now. Still hasn't given it back.
Okay. All right.
No.
So is this on the topic about knowing your purpose or going to
Yep, and that is not my purpose, because my purpose is to serve. And this is my thing. I made a TikTok video. How dare you have the audacity and to be so arrogant to compliment on the lifestyle somebody chooses to live. We'll use me and my mom, for example. My mother works hard.
I do.
My father is a truck driver and works very hard.
He does.
They make good money for themselves.
We do.
They make money that allowed them to take care of their family of six.
Thank the
okay?
Lord.
And my grandparents did amazing. And honestly, I don't even think any of my grandparents, maybe one of them, have a high school diploma. Does it go to
Don't know.
So maybe, I think maybe one of the 6 grandparents that I have a high school diploma, and only one of the 6, to my knowledge, never had a job. However, the things that they were, mind you, my family is black, so the things that they were able, you didn't know that, girl? In case you were wondering of the ethnicity of us, we are black. I mean, it's some Indian and white in there too, but that's not here nor there. We look how yellow, but that's our reasons. We are predominantly black, and they did exceedingly and abundantly for their offspring, which led their offspring to do exceedingly and abundantly for their offspring, us, right? And I go above and beyond. I'm a hard worker to afford the lifestyle that I live, and I'm grateful for it, right? So, how dare someone come in and tell me, because I say, with perfect example, my Cadillac, which my dad told me, how many people you know at your age of 27 was able to purchase a brand new Cadillac? He was like, you got to think about what you got. People want to be where you are. Great, cool, fine, then. And what I've been saying to you last year, I want to upgrade my Cadillac for my birthday. For my 31st birthday, I want to upgrade that bad baby. So, and you have someone who tell me that, oh, well, you think you're better than someone else, or you flaunt your money, or you go on these trips, and like I have a guy tell me on a live, I say you out there spending big stacks. I work hard. Y'all don't pay attention to how much I do on a daily. You just concerned with how I'm spending my money. However, in the fact that I am spending my money to live the life that I want to live, when I'm not taking trips, what am I doing on a daily basis? I'm in my community. I have my job. I serve my people. We feed people. We clothe people. We're doing all of the things. I'm taking trainers on top of trainers on top of trainers to benefit the next person. I was just coming back this past Saturday from my graduation from a cohort. I graduated from another cohort Friday. I graduated from my 3rd cohort from this year. And I told my mom, hey, there's this event that I want to throw. An event that's not going to cost my community anything. And I told her I want to do it in 3 different cities across 3 different counties that we serve. Wasn't going to cost them anything. Y'all come in, y'all going to get everything that I can get you. Money, whatever I can get. I just need you to show up. And as mean as I am, who else you know out there just throwing out money to people? Trying to anyway, to help you get better, right? Again, I feel like God put me here to serve. In every capacity I have had, it was to serve. And I think the only way you can figure out what your purpose is in life is through God. Because what else are you going to know? God said, what's the verse? I knew you before you, I knew you when you were formed in the womb.
Before you knew yourself.
Okay.
So I want to say, according to the scripture, the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments. On that walk, while we are doing that, as she's saying, a servant, and my child have and does say, I believe I'm put here to serve. From the knowledge that the Lord have given me, we are supposed to serve people. Now, you're going to always have those who's up there, and you're going to have those that serve people. I was scrolling on my phone, and I heard some guy, and he was talking about this big pastor with this big church. And he said, you know, God put us there to help people, to be in the community. He said, but he's not helping anybody.
Huh. He
said his church is so large that he has all these ATMs in there. And he say,
ATMs of the church?
This is what the guy said, talking about this preacher. He said, but now, a normal person cannot just walk up to his big church. He got sitting high on a hill. He said the only people that you see serving and helping the community are the poor churches, the small churches.
I ain't never thought about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, bam! That's my first. I'm like, Jane, did you hear it? Because he was watching something on TV. It makes perfect sense. Ooh. But anywho, when we think as a people that we are so above people, how can you help them? That ain't what God told you to do. He told us the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments. And if we're keeping his commandments, we gonna walk how he want us to walk.
Straight.
And do what he want us to do. Not what we want to do. And I was telling, sometime I may be on the phone with James or my mom. I have to be at work at 6 o'clock. And I have pulled up at that place. I'm like, oh, man, I see why. It come a time when you have to retire. I am 55. That means I have been working a very long time. I've been working at the place I am for over 30 years. I thank God for my job. He has blessed me with a job that I can take care of myself and my family and help others. Now, when she made the statement how her dad and myself worked and took care of them, for those of you who've been on this journey with us, I said in the past that each set of parents wants their kids to surpass them. That's what we're supposed to do. You go so far, then you take the next level. I believe, well, I know, not that I believe, that God has blessed James and I to work to take care of ourselves and our family. And when it comes the time, when that time comes that we're no longer here, we have instilled all that we can instill in our children. We first instilled the word in them. They see the hard working ethics and habits that we have. That does not mean that we don't get tired along the way working hard. But someone sacrificed so that you can have. Whether it was my grandmother, who my children never met because she passed. My grandmother, which is my father's mother, worked or have worked in the fields or whatever else she did. My mother's mom, I've never met. We went to my great aunt's 30th birthday party celebration. And her oldest daughter said,
Yeah, who?
My great aunt.
Is he staying?
That's mama's aunt.
She just turned 80.
80.
You said 30th.
I said
We went to my great, you said we went to my great aunt's
80th.
30th birthday party.
I thought I said 80th.
Then you gonna try to tell me who she is. I know who she is. I knew her my whole life.
But anywho, as I was saying, her oldest daughter was saying, you know, how she met her other family and their people in their family, the women's, were not living past 30. So, I guess some years after I had surpassed 30, my mama, and that's what my mama told me, because her mother died. So, and I guess in their hearts, you know, hey, we made it past that. And she's 80 years old. Yes. God has blessed you.
I knew that grandma's mom died when she was 6.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how old she was.
Yeah.
And it never crossed my mind. And when I think about that too, because Lynette died before he turned 30.
Mm-hmm. But
Lord sees in another month I will be 31.
Mm-hmm. But and it just, you know, there was a few of us because her baby sister couldn't make it, which was who lives in Chicago, Illinois, some part of Chicago. But those of us, like the ones in Memphis, you know, her kids and my mom, my uncle from here, my mama baby brother couldn't make it because, you know, he wasn't feeling well. His arm was hurting. But my mom and her children, we came. Me and my daughter, my son didn't go, my husband didn't go. But we all couldn't fit in one car anyway. And my brother and his kids, all but one of them had his granddaughter there. But I said that to say the generations of love and how it goes. You know, how Auntie, and I'm going to say this about Gloria. I remember Gloria got pregnant, I think. And she might have been still in school. But Gloria got pregnant with her daughter. Gloria is a nurse, which she is top of the nurse. She teaches nurses now. That same daughter that she got pregnant with is a nurse. And Gloria's granddaughter, her daughter, is, you know, it's 3 generations. They had them on. I read a write-up about them at the Baptist, Memorial Baptist, I think, in Memphis. But I said all that to say, about trickling down. The hard work. Some people may think because you have a child early or in school. I remember when I was in school, they used to tell them, don't have these babies. Because like they said, if you have one, that's all they're going to do. I've known this in my class and had a couple of them. But they are successful. They went on to get their degree and keep going. So let's not count people out because of mistakes. I was taught you commit sin, don't wallow in it. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving. Even in, you may say, well,
you never ever said that to me.
What?
That statement.
Dust yourself off and keep moving.
You commit sin, don't wallow in it.
I didn't have to say it to you. I said what I heard people say. Certain things that I've heard people say.
I just said you never ever said that to me.
I didn't say it to my kids because it was said. Don't mean you have to repeat saying it. But and what I was finna say, because even though we may make mistakes along the way, we don't have to keep doing it. Because once you, and that's why I've never said it to you, I don't want to give my kids a reason to say, hey, I can slumber over here. Let's not slumber over there. Because I remember when James and I was started on this journey, and we used to sit around the table and read things he would ask me. Read, is everybody in jail or in prison guilty? And I was like, of course not. And my husband responsible would say, but they're guilty of something. And he was right. He said they may not have committed the crime that they did, but God saw fit to punish them because his mercy had ran out on them. I get that. Because as children, when me and my brother would do things, my mom said, I'm going to get you. She'll be counted up. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. And Lord, when we had to done that last thing, and she got that rod, which was that belt, that gin belt. So, and it does. Your mercy does runs out on you. And so, like what he was saying, I was talking about, he asked me, I think everybody in prison. So, and it was what, and he would say, if we do right, we don't have to worry about that. So that's why I never made that statement to you. And then there's some scriptures in the Bible that said, evil pursues sinners. Why? Because you're doing wrong. And it's going to catch up with you. So if just say, well, I don't know what God wants me to do, or fear him. Keep his commandments. And he'll show you the way, whatever it is. If you're a teacher, whatever it is. You decide, well, I don't want to teach, or like me. They be saying I wear smocks. And if you're a nurse, I'm a nurse of cotton. I'm not a human nurse, but I run different tests on cotton. What you roll your eyes for?
I hate when you say it.
I am. Somebody.
That's not her turn. Her title.
I am a physical science technician.
They got nothing to do with nursing.
Well, people ask me. I'm nursing the cotton. Ha ha ha.
Anyway, because Rita, there is something she said that actually had something to do with the topic for today. And now I don't even remember it because she went off to so many different things. But I will address the statement where I said she never said that to me, which is why I know for a fact that, and I'm glad she never did, because I run a tight, my parents ran a tight ship.
We did. And
I run a tight ship with myself. Like the people say, give them grace, give them mercy. It's a tight line over here because God has a tight line. Yes, God does forgive. He does not forgive everyone. If you're not serving him, he is not forgiving you. If you have not perfected yourself, you will not be forgiven. If I operate in the mindset that is either black or white, yes or no, God said it to do it or said it not to do it, then I don't put myself in a situation to say, oh, well, I'm going to give myself a little grace. No. Because God requires perfection.
I know what I was going to say.
Giving myself grace is saying, all right, well, he going to take me as I am. God understands. He understands that he told you, he gave you a specific commandment, and you chose to do it your way. And just said, okay, well, God, you're going to take this anyway. And that's not how it works. So I'm grateful that I never had that statement said to me, that I had the room to give myself some wiggle room. Because when I did mess up, when I would mess up, when I do slip up, I'm hard on myself to anybody. I have a pride issue. I like what my dad had growing up, but I'm very competitive. I know that people hold me on a certain pedestal, and I hold myself on a certain pedestal. I don't so much care about what the world sees of me. It's about me internally, because nobody will ever know what I do and don't do. You know what I allow you to know. However, with me, if I slip up, like I told you guys about the time that I got so mad about the event that I cursed. The guy was just like, "Oh my God, I've never heard you curse," and I was like, "Right." Somebody else, that would mean nothing to anybody else. Probably any one of y'all watching this, nothing to y'all. That's a stab in my heart to me. So, cause this is me, like, cause all I'm hearing, the only thing I'm hearing in my head is God saying, "Hey, now you say you supposed to be ugly. This what I do. This is what I allow. I'm not the type of parent that allows it. Not that God does not give us grace, because He could have took me out right then and He did. But that's something else that I have to pay for, right? And that's how I operate in my mind. And I feel like this is not the topic of conversation. However, I feel like that's the problem, and that crossed my mind today in church. I feel like that's the problem with Christian folks, so-called Christian folks now. My daddy says it time and time again. Every time you go to church, you should come out smarter than when you went in. If you're going to a church and you're not learning anything, why are you at the church? You're going in vain. You'll waste your time. You spent your entire life going to church, and nothing about you has changed, and you still full of sin, you're going to church in vain. You going to Bible study every Wednesday, Thursday, too, whatever day these people have their Bible study on. Church every Sunday. You do your morning devotion, your nighttime devotion, whatever you do your devotional, and yet you are still quick to anger. Mouth full of vulgar language. I'm talking about full of it. You're mannish, you're fast for the women. I don't think girls can be mannish. You know, all of these things you're doing, nothing about you is changing. One, you're not at the right church. Two, you're not listening. You're putting on a show. You got a veil, a zeal of God. And then you don't really want it for real. You just want to say that you are of God, but that ain't the God that you of. And you just don't know that. You think that that's where you're supposed to be, and it's not. And you don't care to change. And then when you give yourself the excuse, well, God know my heart. He know you ain't no good. That's number one. Or God know what I'm trying. God know I'm trying to work. No, He don't. Every single day you are the exact same person. I have not seen any change in you. You ain't seen no change in you. Tell me really what has changed. What you going to church for, right? So, to me, like I said, I feel like God put me here to serve the people. And in every position that I've held in that capacity, I was a servant, right? Same thing with me. That's how my heart is made. And I want to raise my kids that way. Alongside it, I feel that God put me here to be a millionaire. If He could, read them. This is why I say He put me here to be a millionaire. And my whole life growing up, I said I couldn't wait to grow up, become a millionaire, so I could give to all these charities. And my whole life growing up, I used to say I couldn't wait to become a millionaire so I can give to all these charities. I want to give to the animal shelters and the kids in Africa and all these different places. And I realized all them folks was running scams. Because Africa don't look like that for real. Y'all playing in my face. But also, however, it was in my heart to make all this. And I never once said, I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to have all these things. I'm going to look down on y'all. It was always me saying, I'm going to make all of this money. I'm going to pay all my family bills. That every check they get gonna be for them to go spend it however they want to spend it. I'm gonna take care of every child in Africa that's starving. I'm gonna build all these shelters. I'm gonna do all these things for all of these people. I'm gonna save every animal in the world. And we are gonna see Him be filthy rich and happy together in Jesus. No, ma'am.
But that's not God's plan.
I am 31. No, I'm 30. Working on 31. I'm not a millionaire yet, because it's coming. But I will not be getting pimped out by them goddamn fake commercials. But I do plan when I get my funds to where I want my funds to be. I'm gonna magnify what I'm doing now.
Okay. So I want to address something. As you were speaking earlier, and the scripture that came to my mind was that if the righteous scarcely make it in, where shall the sinner and the ungodly appear?
Hell.
In hell. Because scarcely making it in, people. But we just think I can do anything.
We got all
because she
time
started
in the
talking about
world.
this grace and make it in. He said the righteous scarcely. So hey, what you think gonna happen to the ones who not righteous? And my thought I was talking about James when I sent it to the table, it came back to me. Look like that fell off my brain again. Here it is. And James used to say to me about, us. Because as we taught the kids, and he was like, because God blessed me to live 30-some odd years in sin.
In his filth.
Right. Does not mean
You got
that he gonna bless you that long. And that's correct. Because the first thing you hear a lot of older people say, oh, they young. Look how many young people die.
It crossed my mind this morning.
It's not promised for us to get old. And he said, the day that you hear my voice, which is his word, harden not your heart. Because he allowed me to live so many years in sin, had that much mercy on me, don't mean that you can live 30, 40, 50 years in sin. Your time may be up at 25, at 15.
At a day old, a week old, a
Bam!
hour old.
Come on. Think about it. Because you young don't mean you can get old. Our time is not God's time. He allowed me to work all these years on my job. Thank you, Lord Jesus. In the beginning, I was making pennies. But I stayed. And that we worked together, James and I, and made to take care of our family, God bless us to do that. And so, and that's why when she say she's never hurt me, because I don't want to give my kids a way out to do wrong. And like James always said, I get sick of these movie stars and this crap you hear on TV when they done screwed up. Now it's a sad story to the end and everybody love it. He said, why can't you do right in the beginning? You can. But you got to teach to the children. You got to teach them right in the beginning. Not to say, baby, God will forgive you. Well, what if he don't forgive you and you die and go to hell? Because you have not repented to get the forgiveness. Because you have not lived long enough to get it. There's also a story in there when the man was talking about he going to do this tomorrow and the Lord say, thy food. Your soul is required tonight, today, or whatever the scripture says.
Thy food, not thy food.
Thy food. But I'm saying that to say, tomorrow is not promised to us. None of us. Do what he asks us to do. Fear him. Because when we're doing God's work, we feel better. No, I am not rich in money, but I'm rich in Jesus. And those things that he allowed me to have and allowed me to bless people with, I thank him. Do you hear me? Just as simple as the young man, my classmate, trying to help a stranger he met. He inserted himself in there, and I was just making phone calls. Because like the disciple said, silver and gold I have none. Money I have not to pay for any hotel rooms. But I can look for you. I can make phone calls to hoping and had a young lady help me to get you somewhere to stay. You cannot stay in my house. My house is not equipped for that. But we fed you. No, I'm just
Not
saying.
you're not going to get the shirt off your back.
No, I never said that. You can only help so far. And that's what people got to realize. I'm not going to see you on the street and look down at you and hunch my nose up at you. I done had 2 hip surgeries. And a lot of more things. Fat. Get tired sometimes of walking. But I thank God. Because he allowed me to be here to do the things that he would have me to do. Because I'm kind to you, don't take my kindness for weakness. I see everything that God wants me to see or that he allows me to see. And I thank God that I have the heart to help. And like this is something I say too when people say, this way I am, this way God made me. Well, in the beginning, y'all, we was made into sin. We had to conform from sin to righteousness. So we have to die out the sin. But you got some people here who are naturally humble. That's something that God gave them. Not everybody.
But everybody got something to work on.
Yeah. Everybody has something to work on. Because there wasn't but one born here perfect. And that was Jesus. The rest of us got to get there. The grace that he gave us was the day that we came out of our father back into our mother's womb, and he allowed us to be born. When we got at the age that we knew right from wrong, all this is God's mercy. The day that we went into a building and heard some form of word of God was grace and mercy. There's a scripture that says, my sheep hear my voice. One thing I do believe with all my heart, if you are desiring Christ, and if you hear something that's not right, he going to keep drawing you somewhere else. If you desire him, he going to draw you. You ain't got to stay there. For whatever reason, people stay to things that's not right, whether it's in relationships, jobs, church houses. Open your heart and follow. Hear what the Spirit is saying to you if he's talking to you. You don't talk to everybody. You got to be worthy.
Y'all notice like when Rita go off in her tangents, then she keep going, then she go. That means I need to start talking. That means it's not my time to talk. She's just waiting being like down. Again, I'm apologize again. But you think I'm yawning. If you think that I'm yawning because I'm tired, I'm not. It's the sneezing.
Look how God works. What did you say to me?
I tell people all the time, I have Graves' disease. So people assume that it's because it's an autoimmune disease, but people assume that I would get sick easily because I have autoimmune disease. I don't. I'm never sick. If I don't feel good, it's a headache or a sinus infection. I probably say one or 2 days out of every season, I have a day where I wake up and my sinus is draining or not draining, however you call it, where it sounds like a man. I sound like a man. My nose is stopped up, but it's constantly running, and I sneeze a lot. And everybody know me I don't sneeze one time. It's between 3 and 17 times, and it makes me really, really, like, my head hurts. It makes me yawn a lot. Yeah, and it makes me very tired. I'm actually not sleeping. I'm not tired. However, I keep yawning because, and my mouth is constantly open throughout this video because I can't breathe through my nose. I'm breathing through my eyeballs and my mouth. And I sound like a man, but that's not here nor there. We're going to make the statement about people. Doesn't mean you're going to have that amount of time to live. It feels like my nose run. I'm not sure. This is what I use for my nose.
At least you cleaning it.
So, see, and I do that and nothing moves. So, but it dawned on me today. I was going to the restroom to do something. I thought I was doing my hair for church or whatever else. And it crossed my mind like, man, people correlate age to death. And I've never understood that being people miscarriage. You can die, you can be born and dead the next. My cousin Lily gave birth. They took her baby, and by the time they gave her baby back, she was dead. This is my cousin Nikki that we talked about on this podcast before. You have people who have miscarried time and time again. My brother cousin died at 29 years old, right? Like my dad told us all the time growing up, because God allowed me to be in my field 32 years, don't mean he gonna have that same mercy on you. 31, because he said 31 and a half today. Mm-hmm. But growing up, he told me 32. And all that time, God gave him that mercy. Does not mean that. And you can say, well, that's not fair. However, who are you to tell God what should and should not be happening? Like I say on a daily basis, a lot of people should not have kids. But at the end of the day, that's God's business. But back to the topic at hand, which is your purpose in your career path. For me, this Rita made a statement about her, said now when she had to be at work, she had to make herself get out of the car.
Sometimes.
And she said that earlier today, and I said, not me. And it's not the first time she said that, and I'm just like...
Retirement, you mean?
Yeah, but you can't wait to retire to say that. But I've always said my entire life...
I'm not rushing it, but go ahead.
I've always said my entire life, I'm not looking forward to retire. I don't want to retire. I said yesterday, we were on our way up the road to Tennessee. I'm not looking forward to retire because I was like, you got to get there. That's what she said, and I said, not true, because I've always planned my entire life to work for myself. Every plan that I made with every job, with the career field I chose to say I was gonna have, I always, when you look back on it, everything was lined up for me to work for myself. Because I said there's not going to be anybody tell me I cannot take off this, go run behind my kids playing every sport in the world. You can't tell me I can't get paid maternity leave or whatever the case of the sort. I've written papers on why the USA should have paid maternity and paternity leave, even when you're adopting kids. Free medical care. Because every country has it but us, right? But I made every life decision I made, even when I was young, deciding what I wanted to major in. It was for me to be able to work for myself so that I can do all of these things, so that I can come and go as I please. I remember when I was in college, and even in high school, I used to say I don't like thinking about, when I said a few years ago, I hate thinking about when it comes time for me to have to retire. And I thought about it. Girl, you work for yourself. You don't have to retire. Because I said, what am I going to do with that time?
Trust me, you find something.
What would I do with that time? Right? And like I'm grateful for my first ever job being the same first job my mama ever had, working for USDA.
That wasn't my first job.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Anyway, it was my first job. You said you was 18 when you worked at the...
No, I was 19 or 20 when I started there.
Anyway, it was my first job. I've always had great jobs. I've always made good money, and I've always worked hard. I've never, in all the years I worked for USDA, your girl was in the field. I'm talking about sunburn after sunburn after sunburn. At one point, my junior senior year, from left shoulder to right shoulder, I was 9 different colors. Outside. Not just working, but also playing sports. I like getting my hands dirty. I like doing the work. That's who I am. I have no problem with it. I don't feel the need to slack. And I want my kids to be the same way. And for me, I know that what my purpose is to do things that I'm doing, because every certification that I've gone after, every degree that I've obtained, every job that I have held has put me in a position to serve people. And it makes me happy. And growing up, I've heard people say, if you dread going there, you don't like it, then that's not a job. Or it's a job if you hate doing it. A career is something that you love. Baby, it's going to be days that you don't like what you do. That does not mean it's not your career. I love everything that I do, every part of it, even the frustrating parts. Do people get on my nerves in the field out? Yes. Because you have people who are ungrateful. And at the end of the day, if it was not my calling to do it, I could have called quits a long time ago. Yeah. And I've had people come through our food line, because I sit down and met with people, and people tell me, I mean, they can say some of the most despicable, disrespectful things. And they can be so, you have nothing to your name. And you are entitled. I could right then and there flip a disc on your end until you get up out my face. But, and I would, when I'm done talking to them, I respect them. I'm calling Rita. Let me tell you about this person. Right? And still, as irritated as you make me, I'm still finna go on to help the next person. And still call and check in on you. Because you cannot tell me God did not put me here to do this. So how did I find out what I'm supposed to be doing in life? I think I was born doing what I was raised. With everything I did. With everything my parents taught me. Being in the Word, being in church. I've been brought up in church. I'm grateful to be brought up in church. And be brought up on the right path from the jump. Because a lot of people had to find it. I was brought up. I was put in it. Right? And I knew for myself.
The word say input it.
I was input into the right thing. Thankfully. And everything I've done in life, every experience I've had, is all pointed to showing that, yeah, you're in the right spot. Mm-hmm. Even with all these, I was doing all these fellowships and training programs all at the same time. from high school up until now, everything that I was supposed to be in perfectly aligned every single time. People say, "How you doing so much? How you doing so much?" God, my brain has always worked to do a lot of things at one time, and in those things that I'm doing is always to benefit somebody else.
Yeah.
So you cannot tell me that's not my purpose. And then me reading my word and me listening to Pastor Collier at our church saying Jesus was a servant first. Me listening to the things that I do, you cannot tell me that's not my purpose, right? There's no way that God will put you here without a plan for you and Him not tell you, unless you choose to ignore Him. Then He gonna let you think for yourself and still be gracious enough and kind enough to allow you to continue to live in your field, as my daddy say.
I want to say, and I said this when she was working at somewhere over there doing something for somebody else, and she invited different people to come out and speak. You know, these successful people. And my husband had to speak because we owned there, and I truck, and I spoke. And I said to the children, there is nothing wrong with having your own business.
Absolutely.
But to me, when you have your own business, that's the hardest working job that you got. Because if you don't work, you don't make any money, you know. And and my mama like, wow, we have this, but I work for a place that I go in and I have insurance and all this, and I said that to say too, Jazz and Bennett, Marvin, knew from day one that they want to do their own things.
False. It's not that. It was never that we don't like being told what to do. It was never that.
That ain't what I was finna say.
Because I was just pointing out, like, we are hard workers.
Because they worked.
And while we were starting our own business, we was going 10 times harder working for other people.
Right.
Because that's how we were raised.
And as I was finna say, that's what was in their heart. I want this and I want that. And believe it or not, the thing that they wanted was, they was neighbor. Everything it appears to be. And so, like people like
cohesive. Because she said headbutt. We was
cohesive. I didn't say headbutt. I said that means, and I said in line together. Yeah. I didn't say headbutt. But I said, like that, and yes, God only gave him 29 years here. But this young man bought a home.
Paid it off.
When I say bought, that's what I mean. I mean it's off in full. He had several cars, had just paid cash for a car, and he got several degrees, and he started his business.
He got several degrees. He got several certifications. He got
certification. That's what I mean. Certificate. Thank you. But I said all that to say, their mindsets was gonna have their own. And people say we had this conversation yesterday in the car, and I was telling my brother like, "Yeah, I was spoiling them." So my brother said, what do they mean, spoil?
He said they need to look up the definition of spoil.
And this is what he said. But I said, because, the things they have. I said, but what people didn't realize, those kids worked for everything that they have. He said exactly. Spoiled is when you having everything handed to you. And he's correct.
You can be poor and be spoiled.
Yeah. But they worked for it. Did we help them along the way? Yes. That's what good parents should do. Help your kids.
Because then nobody asked to be here.
No. We when we make decision to have children, and you can say, well, I ain't had, but when you're doing those things that you produce those babies.
When you lay down and had that fun.
That's on us. And walking in your walk and knowing your thing. The scripture said, be fruitful and multiply. So if I'm not teaching my kids what thus say the Lord and how to work, I am not being fruitful and multiply. Not just be fruitful. Anybody can multiply. But let's be fruitful in it. Fruitful is in the word. Teach them what God expects of them. Because when we can see that and do that, it's just a brighter day. What they say, a brighter day ahead? What? Because I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not selfish. Jesus was not selfish. He died on the cross. He suffered on the cross. He came here and walked 33 years on here so that we could have a chance. But are we taking advantage of the chance? What are we doing, people? Are we walking the walk that he put before us? Are we?
So to wrap this up, if you are wanting to understand what your purpose is, to find your purpose, to know that you are working in your purpose, take it to God. Take it to the Word. Working in your purpose doesn't mean you're not going to have stressful days. You can have a stressful day and not be stressed out because God is peace. I tell you why I'm not stressed. Well, you just look tired. Because I need to sleep. Because your girl is not sleeping on my own. Because I'm not tormented from anything. I will sit there and I will keep working until I'm like this right here, eyes burning and my face just typing stuff. I told my mom one time I just had to get up and go to bed. I was on the phone with the lady in the middle of doing her 501c3 application. Or I was texting her because I needed something. And I realized it was like 3 in the morning. I said, okay, this is enough. Because I started typing gibberish. I just had to erase it, save it, and go to sleep. Before I closed my eyes, I text my mother. And all kept, do not call me. I'm just not going to bed. Because I knew in 3 hours that phone was going to ring. And I would sleep. But, side note, you have to take it to God. Read your word. Because that Bible tells you everything. Y'all be thinking, the verse says there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. I don't care what new title you give it. But take it to God. It's not saying that it's not going to be frustrating. It's not going to be stressful. Everything in life worth having is going to take some hard work, some sweat, some tears, some concentration. Right? Ask God what it is. You can't just ask him one time. And when he tell you, you got to be willing to hear it and believe it. Like I be talking about these signs. Baby, the sign could be you tripping over step. Oh, that's my sign to sit down. No. Your dumb is just clumsy. Let me not call you dumb. You're just clumsy. All right? Now, you're foolish if you're not listening to God, but you tripped over that step because you're clumsy, Rachel. That's all it is. Take it to God. Get in your word. Build your relationship. And anything fulfilling, it's not just you, but if it's serving, and this is something that I say, this is not in the Bible. If you have a job that is fulfilling, not just your needs, but somebody else's, that you're helping somebody, then probably that's a good field to be in. And I say probably because some people, like a lot of people, go into nursing just because they want the money. But some people go into nursing because you have the love for somebody else. A lot of these cures and organizations were started out of, and that's what I wanted to say, out of something that somebody has experienced. Because somebody made a statement, the lady said she used to be scared to speak up for certain things. She realized that she didn't have to know the struggle to fight for the struggle. Right. And that hit me because I said, I've never known a lot of the things that I fight for now. I've never known not being uneducated, not having a job. My uncle got mad at me. We didn't get mad at me. Well, we had the conversation yesterday. We said everybody can't work. And my question is, everybody can work. You can. And God blesses everyone with a talent. You can have the best vocals in the world. Don't mean you need to be up there singing R&B. You can be singing gospel music or whatever the case is. Everyone is blessed with a talent, means everybody can work to make some form of income to take care of themselves. Now that you don't fall on hard times, but you can do something to suffice yourself. However, for me, if you are serving, that's a calling in itself. Because it takes a lot to do for somebody else, especially when you're tired. And I can attest to that. Feet hurt, full of sweat, head a mess. We done closed the thing down, somebody still come pull up. Still gonna go get them a bag. Go find something for them. It take a lot to do for somebody when you got beat down. I'm gonna tell you that. That's a lot. It's a lot. So, take it to God. Your calling could be something that you probably said you were gonna never do. My dad said he was gonna never drive trucks. Best buddy he ever made. And loved to do it. I loved it when I was going with him. Took us on the road with him. You can't tell me we know about the hard work. We was back there in that trailer unload. Okay? Me and Belinda and Pooh. I ain't also to get down on my brother. Gonna leave alone. We went at a Pooh was back there. Yeah. free RCs and ham sandwiches from this one place. We love to go to that place because we'll unload the trailer and feed us.
I want to say about the hard work before we get off. My mama used to say she would be fussing when Jazz moved next door to her. Jazz don't ever go to sleep. And I often say that, you know, Jazz and Bennett was a lot like you.
Siamese twins.
Yeah, we knew he didn't sleep because, and that's like when we had to relay the floors at the church. I'm like, man, if Bennett was here, you know, because I figured we would have did it quicker because we have been working at day, he had been working at night, you know, because he didn't sleep either, and that's what they did. Now they would have had a conflict. Oh, we gonna do it like this here, okay?
Oh, we always butt heads. Yeah. Oh, but, always.
Yeah, about how it's done. But at the end of the day, it's done, and it's done correctly.
Yeah.
You know. And she was first. I'm like, well, Mom, when she was in Stockton, she was. That's something they did. And I remember one of the pastors that he played for said to me, you know, he didn't know his place, and he rode by there one night. And if you know, those of you out here know him, you see him doing a project. Bam, he done did it through. That's what they did. And we was talking about him yesterday when we was talking about my great niece, how just overly active. I keep telling him, don't call her BAD.
She is horrible. But, she said, I'm not horrible.
But
and he is.
And we were saying how Bennett would just touch everything and break it. Jane be like, let me leave that alone. Break it. But you know, but you have some kids that does a lot. They were put here to do that. And they gonna go beyond. And I can say that about them. I'm not saying the other kids don't. But they were the first two. And it's just like. And like I say, they was in their mind, I'm gonna have my own business. Now, with the baby boy, Jazz like, well, LJ, we gonna have this here, like this that they have. He like, okay. You know, even with the older brother, he said that he wanted to do this with them. I love him, but I think he wanted them to do work.
He wanted to get paid. And then thought you would put your wife on my money.
To say all of that, you have those of us who I put here who love serving people. You know, like I say to the people in church, it makes your heart feel, even though, baby, we done been, because this before I had these surgeries, and sometimes the hip still gets stiff, or the body gets stiff, and we done left out of there barely
limping. I'm talking about sweating, limping.
Got to pick up, get in the bed, then you got to turn right back up and get that money. It's just, you know.
Be in church fight for our life.
And we be like, well, thank the Lord, we done it. You know, like she said, somebody's going to always, when it'll come and ask, come on, y'all know the time allotted. And then I had a friend, McGee, Boost to Beyond. He told me, you got to set a time, set an end of time. Because at first we was just out there. And he's correct. Because if you want it,
you gonna come
get it. You know, so hey, we give you 2 hours. That's it. You know, come on. Because we're doing all this work. People don't see the work behind the scene. And it's not for you to see. You know, we do it because we choose to. What? So, you know, come on. A little grace and a little mercy.
I cannot say that my parents ever made the statement, I'm going to go serve the people. This is my job, to serve the people.
No, we haven't.
I'm going to go do this for the people. I'm going to go do this for the people. When they messed up at, when they laid down and had to be. Mm-hmm. Because when I said, I'm going to do this, when I said, I'm going to do it, if I say, I'm going to do it, it's Jazz going to get it done. When I say, hey, I think that we should, okay, now everybody's just been thrown into the deep end. This nonprofit started.
We all discussed that.
Yeah, but how did the idea come about originally? Actually, was me and Bennett. Because I was thinking, Bennett said something, I was just like, huh. And that's how our original board got started. It was 7 of us. Bennett, myself, my grandmother Annie.
Names.
Okay, so Marvin Bennett Blackman Jr., who we call Bennett. Jasmine Sade Styles, which is Jazz, myself. My grandmother Annie Spencer. My grandfather Eddie Pete Durkins, who we call Papa. My grandmother Bobby Jean Durkins. my mother, Rita Denise Styles, and my father, James Lee Styles the third.
The original board.
That was the original board, the 7 of us.
We used to
Just so, and we started meeting. This while I still lived in Starkville, while I was still in school, when I was getting 2 businesses off the ground, or it was 1 business at a time, and doing all of these things, right? I'm like, so we would have meetings on Zoom, on FaceTime, we was meeting, we're gonna do this. And our first ever project was right on the brink of COVID. We out there giving out boxes of food, and then we did the hot meal things. Yeah. Woo. Then from that we was like, okay. I think it's about after a year. Oh, okay, no. By the time I moved back home, we decided to separate the board. So we had the church board and the nonprofit board, and the people from the original board had to decide who was coming in or whatever, who people want invited. That's just kind of how they work. Right now, of the 7 members that started out the organization, 3 have passed. That's Bennett, that's my papa, or my grandma Annie passed first in 2021. Bennett passed in 2023, and papa passed in 2024. So we still have my mom and myself who are still on the board for the nonprofit. My mom, my dad, and myself who are on the board for the church. And my grandma is one of the employees of the nonprofit. She just do what she want to do.
We still working, y'all. We thank God.
Yep, 3 of us gone. 3 church members, 3 board
still
members.
Still working. He put us here, and like she said, it just went because. And the reason why I said we all because it was different things everybody wanted to do.
Which is how we got so many programs.
And like Jazz was saying, she's never heard us say that we here to serve. We haven't. But James is, because James is the minister.
Well, that's not what I was saying, because I did get a little sidetracked. My thing was, when I put in my mind, hey, I want to do this for this person. Every program that we have, and which brings me back to what I was originally going to say, I didn't have to know the struggle to provide the fight.
Right.
I'm not one of those people, hey, well, this happened to my mom, so I'm going to start this. This happened to my sister, I'm going to start this. Happened to me, so I'm going to start this. No. I saw people struggling. And I said, Mom, we got to feed the people. Daddy, we need to clothe these people. Oh, Grandma, let's open up a adult daycare. Oh, first 3 clients was going to be people in our family, but then also we want to do up to 3. Well, yeah. But the thing was, I saw something in the people that I see on a daily basis. I didn't know these people personally. I saw what they needed, so we was just like, this is what we're going to do. At the end of the day, I was born to know what I was made to do.
And you say that, you never heard of it. Sister Brown says all the time. She says, Sister Style, the reason why your kids does it, because I remember y'all going out and doing things, and we did. When the Christmas tree, we would buy gifts and get, and that's what she was shown, even though the words never came out of our mouth. We were always, my husband used to tell me, I want to adopt some children. I'm like, I don't.
I always say I want to adopt some babies.
I don't. No. The Lord blessed me to have them. I can have them. I don't want to adopt them. And that's what I used to tell him. You know, and I remember even Bennett was like, TT, don't you want a foster child? I do not. You know, he worked over
She
there.
had a foster child. You know.
But, you know, and I said that, even though we never said that, but we showed them along the way how to help people. You know, and so, hey, it's naturally. You know, and like I said, as a little kid, people would come over and just show up during the holidays. And so, because our kids were blessed with so many different toys, and we would tell them or ask them to give one of their toys away to, you know, one of their gifts.
Oh, I was so selfless then.
Yeah. We would
now,
exactly.
Don't ask me to give you a
Girl,
goddamn.
please. We would tell them, and they would, because they had so many. You know, and they would just pick one and give, and the person open, oh well. You know, so I'm thankful for what we did and put in them from the beginning, all of them, you know. And like she was saying, like we talk about now, they would go from house to house, you know. And of course, when Bennett went over here, then whatever his mama had at his house for him. But those kids, that's how we raised them, you know. And my child used to, my brother would show it, he'd give people, I'm like, you don't give folks your money. They would take my baby money. But, you know, it's just to know that God, you know, he put certain things in people's heart, and we're not the only people, just some people just choose not to. Okay. Knowing what God has called you to do, knowing your purpose.
God been telling you your purpose for the last 5 years, and you still up here trying to run away from it. Like, I know it's my purpose to be a stripper, but you know, I'm just playing. However, again, if you want to know your purpose, listen to God. You ain't got to take nothing to him. You are the problem. It's not God. It's you.
It's us people.
And on that note, this has been another deeply long and interesting episode of Man's Glory Podcast, where we keep it real
Biblical.